Hello, and welcome to our weekly LinkedIn Live leadership series, Voices of Leadership. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Kathy Eastwood, your host and CEO and founder of E equals Y. Each week, we explore the fascinating world of leadership, featuring voices from various generations, industries, and backgrounds. A team's job is to deliver results. The role of the leader is to empower, inspire, and enable the people and teams to deliver those results. And there's a repeatable formula for that. It's the E3 leadership code: express plus engage plus execute, powered by emotions. However, each leader's approach and how they use it is different. And that's why we love talking to different leaders in the world that are driving change. So we're going to take a moment. Please introduce yourselves. Feel free to let us know where you're dialing in from, and also always ask questions. We love to hear from you, and our speaker today, I know, is ready to answer any of your questions. So without further ado, let me introduce you to our speaker today. Our guest is someone that I was instantly drawn to. I think we just chit-chatted for almost an hour when we first met, Randall.
Absolutely. Yep.
And it's not just his creativity, which is amazing, but his commitment to unity and community and in action. Randall Law is the founder of Cool Generation, a clothing and lifestyle brand that's turning apparel into a movement. He's the mind behind Cooley, and we're going to talk a lot about Cooley, I think, today, a vibrant mascot who's symbolizing global inclusivity. And he's the heart behind the back to school events that give away sneakers, laptops, and confidence. What I love most about Randall's leadership is how deeply it's rooted in community. He's not waiting for someone else to fix things. He's showing up, doing the work, and inviting others in. So, Randall, thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell our audience a little bit about your leadership journey and really what inspired you to turn a creative idea into a movement for unity?
First and foremost, thank you so much, Kathy, for having me on this amazing show. I am elated about being here, and I look forward to giving you this journey of inspiration behind Cool Color Kid Generation, the Cool World mascot, and also 100 Pairs to Give, which is one of our community-based initiatives, giving back to kids going back to school. What started this journey was me just having an idea in Los Angeles. I was working as a production assistant from the the LA Film Fest. And some of the older gentlemen at the time, because I was one of the young guys, they said, "What would you name a band for shock value?" And I said, "KKK." And they were like, hold on. What do you mean KKK? So I was like, okay, I would name it Cool Color Kid. I said you put a whole bunch of different cultures together, and if they're any good, they could potentially make history. So a lot of them were just like, you know what, that is pretty creative, but bro, I don't think that's gonna work. So me being young at that time, being one of the youngest production assistants, they persuaded me to drop the idea. Fast forward, while while back home on the East Coast, I saw this Gap commercial, and I saw all these bunch of kids jumping around from different cultures, and the idea came back to me. I was like, that's it. I can name a clothing brand Cool Colorful Kids. So my friend at the time, well, he's still my friend. He said, "Bro, nobody's wearing clothes that says KKK." So I didn't know how to start a clothing brand. Two, I didn't know where to start. So that was the second time I allowed somebody to tell me that I couldn't do something. So I started to believe that. And I would say, fast forward to 2018. I'm not in Los Angeles. I'm back home in Delaware, kind of depressed on where am I going, because there's no entertainment industry in Delaware. So the closest entertainment industry is Philadelphia and New York. And mind you, I went to school in Philadelphia for college and also New York City. So sitting in my living room, I'm looking at this documentary called Sam Cooke and the KKK. And from there, sitting there looking at that documentary, a light bulb came on. And while I'm seeing all the history behind the KKK and Sam Cooke and the history of him and the community and things of that nature, the light bulb came on, and right then and there, something said, "You need to make a clothing brand that inspires not only people of color, but also individuals to think outside of the box. Because we live in a society where we always tell our kids to think outside of the box, dream big. But when they think too far out of the box, we like to pull them back. Like, hey, oh no, you're going way too far now. So it inspired me to take this journey to empower people to not only think outside of the box, but bring the unity behind it. Because educating myself on the KKK, I didn't know that before the late 1930s that the swastika was a symbol of peace. Before the man by the name of Adolf Hitler took that symbol and changed it to a symbol of hate. So I said, if one man can take a symbol of peace and change it to a symbol of hate, why can't I take a negative acronym and change it to an acronym that not only empowers people to think outside of the box, but think creatively regarding community and also how we can push change in our kids today to continue to be different, act different, and move different. And from there, a lot of legs spawn from that, just taking that step of faith on not only thinking outside of the box, but creating change within my community. When I moved back home and I created these wonderful sneakers that are called the Global Kid Generation Ones that are a drone of flags, it made me think when I went back to my old community, which is the projects of South Bridge, and I saw there was a need in the community of kids not inspired or empowered. So for me, being able at the age of 17 to graduate and go to college at the Philadelphia Art Institute, which is no longer here, and going to New York City and then going to Los Angeles, I said, if I took the step to get out, okay, how can I use all the gifts, talents, and abilities that I was able to cultivate out there in the world and inspire these kids to not only take their talent, to just be the change, but also show what change looks like. So by doing that, one leg on what is called 100 Pairs to Give. 100 Pairs to Give is a back to school initiative where we give away 100 pair of my brand sneakers to kids going back to school. And we've also been able to partner with different community partners by pitching ideas as far as what we're able to pitch to them to give away 100 savings accounts to empower financial literacy. There's a caveat to that, though. With that, these kids had to take one course for 45 minutes, one course a month for the course of 3 months for 45 minutes to learn how to grow that $50. But also, the course of 3 months, they had to put $50 of their own money in it to unlock the money that was given at the back to school giveaway. We've also been able to cultivate a relationship with Nerdic Cares. Nerdic Cares, um, excuse me, was able to partner with them to give away 100 refurbished laptops for the past 2 years. And with those relationships, it has brought different relationships in the community and not just in Delaware, but in sister cities like Philadelphia, New Jersey, to see this movement and wanted to be a part of it as well. And through that, with an idea to also find more ways to change the world, spawns Cooley. Cooley was an idea. In my first year of creating the brand, I stated that I just want to create change through a clothing brand. I wanted to make a visible change and be different than any other clothing brand out there, because if I'm correct, I believe no clothing brand has a mascot. So I took the inspiration and I started looking at clothing brands that not only attach themselves to logos, but attach themselves to symbols and beacons that people can hold on to, things that are memorable. So I started looking at cartoon characters such as Bart. I started looking at different clothing brands that had like the Polo Bear. And I was starting to study why people like this polo bear. Why were they willing to pay that much? Why were they so attached to this? And so many other clothing brands. And so Bart was my first example. So one day, as I'm sitting at home, I put Bart up on my wall, and I kept looking at cartoons, trying to understand why people love Bart so much, and how come so many different clothing brands use Bart as licensing to be attached to their brand. So as I'm sitting there, I'm listening to music, coming up with ideas. And one of my favorite music artists by the name of J. Cole, he has this famous line. And as I'm sitting there looking at Bart, he says this famous line, "Cold world." So as this music is raised and I'm brainstorming, I thought he said "cool world." So it was like a aha moment. I was like, what am I trying to do with the brand? I'm trying to change the world. That's the name of the character. World. So I cut Bart's head off. I printed out a globe. I put the globe on his head. And then I started looking at my website and I started taking pieces of the clothing and putting them on this character named Cooley. So I put a hat, started with the hat, then it started with different clothing. And that spawned the Cool World mascot. But then I still didn't know how to make it the idea that I wanted, and that was a mascot. So he was still on T-shirts that wasn't selling at all. People really still was like, "Who is this
Who is
Cooley
this?
guy?" And I still didn't create the story on how he was created. So people really couldn't attach themselves to it until one day after my second back to school. There's a hospital called Nemours Children's Health Hospital, and they sponsored for my second back to school. And I had this idea, and it was on my bucket list. I said, I really want to create a mascot. And it took a visit to the Nemours Children's Health and seeing how many kids don't actually get a chance to step outside those walls because some kids actually live at the hospital. And as I left, I kind of teared up because I said, we're doing all this impact in the community, but these kids never walk outside of these walls. So I'm not gonna lie, I asked God, I said, God, how could I bring what we're doing out here and impact kids in here and their families as well? So then I went home and I thought I developed a great relationship with Yvette to give her a call. But mind you, my nerves wouldn't give me the energy to actually make that step. But going to performing arts school and my background in communication, I was always taught when you're afraid of something, that means you should do it.
Yeah.
So I typed out all this stuff I wanted to say because mind you, I knew it off the top of my head, but I said, let me write it out and put it in front of me because I'm so nervous I may forget something that may inspire her to want to hop on this idea. So as I'm sitting on the phone, I have this paper right in front of me, and she's allowing me to talk, and I'm reading it verbatim, but in my creative way. And she said, I love this idea. She said, but I want to bring it in front of my team. And I was like, oh, what do you mean team? So I was like, what do you mean team? So she said, no, I want you to bring this. And please feel free to stop me, Kathy, because I can go on this inspirational talk for a while. So I don't want to seem like I'm rambling. You're just like, hey, buddy, this is my
Keep
show.
going. I'm into it. Let's go.
So she's like, you're going to bring this in front of my team. Mind you, I pitched ideas for TV shows. I've been in front of cameras and things of that nature, but I've never been in front of a board of a hospital. And I'm not quite sure how I should go about tackling this pitch. So our first meeting, it got canceled. So, I'm thinking it's the death of everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, I prepared for 2 weeks for this pitch. I put together all these videos and all the empowerment we've already created within the community. And they canceled it. So, even though it wasn't the end of the world, it gave me more time to prepare. And with that more time to prepare, with all of the photography and videos we've been able to collect, to show the impact we're creating, it gave me more time to bring my creative juices in the producing and directing side to bring a great edited video together to show this board. So I presented in front of the board, blows them out of the water. They love the idea, but I don't know how to produce a mascot. My back.
So you still have an idea, but you don't have the physical mascot.
I have an idea, but I don't know how to produce a mascot. So I go into overdrive of basically from those community partners. I've been able to create. I said I got to reach out to which is our D League, NBA basketball G League. I got to reach out to the Delaware Blue Coats to see if they can connect me to somebody that can show me how to go about this process. Even though the board loved the design and they put the ball in my hands to produce this mascot and all the great things that I pitched about. So I call up to the Delaware Blue Rocks. I get an opportunity to talk to some other great, amazing teams, and they gave me some great advice. And I had to vet at least 15 different mascot producers. And it all boiled down to one person that I felt that could really do the job because creatively, mind you, I went to Philadelphia Art Institute, so I have an arts background. And in that school, we were always surrounded around people in fashion. So I kind of have an eye for fashion and design without having that degree in it. And it took about a half a year. It took about 2 months to vet a designer, and I locked in on one. And we had monthly check-ins with Nemours on, the process and things of that nature. And they trusted to 100% that everything I've been able to create with my team in the community, they were like, we trust it because what you're doing is just amazing. So that gave me confidence stepping into this new role as a mascot designer. And 6 months went by, and we introduced Julie at my third back to school, which we hosted over 300 students from 4 different school districts, in attendance, about 500 in attendance. And when I tell you the impact and the oohs and the ahs of different community leaders and students and families that were there, they was like, "This is professionally done." I knew during this process I didn't want to have one of those rinky-dink mascots that's waving a sign, "Come to my check cashing place." I knew that in order to inspire change, it has to be done with quality, and that's what we aim to do at Cool Color Kid Generation, along with 100 Pairs of Gift and the Cool World mascot, is to put quality events, put quality clothing, put quality experiences in front of kids, in front of parents, that will inspire them to do just the same.
I love it. And so this is why this story is so inspiring and I wanted to get it out there, Randall. But as I'm listening to all of this, right? And the
Mhm,
things that you've gone through, it's leadership at its core, right? You
mhm,
had this idea
mhm,
and basically 3 times someone said, "Yeah, not a good idea." Right? Like,
mhm,
but you were passionate, you knew, you had the courage to say, no, this is right, and
mhm.
it just stuck with you all that time, right? And you eventually continue to go after it and get it and make it happen.
Well, the thing is that there was always times where I wanted to give up because it took me actually before starting the business. Actually, before starting the business, I took a year to really learn how to actually write a business plan, take a course on how to open up an LLC, how to do all these things, because sometimes we have a great idea and we like to hop on it. But the thing is that we don't do the proper planning of understanding how to actually push that idea out there. And it took a program in Wilmington, Delaware. It's called the Launcher Program, to actually teach me how to write a business plan. And there's one man by the name of Wilminster, rest in peace, um, the oldest white guy you'll know, but loved and inspired me even when I was down, because he came to me and he said, "You're really looking at you're really looking to take on the KKK." And with a stern face, he said, "You got some work to do." And with that consistency and the persistence to think outside of the box and do something bigger than myself, it won him over. And he introduced me to different programs like the Urban League, different community-based initiatives that would teach me not only how to just focus on the brand, but focus on the community aspect and what lies behind this brand on pushing creative purpose movement.
Yeah, and when you think about for leaders, right, and they have an idea, what would you say, like what are some of the things that have helped you continue to push through every day? Like, what would you recommend to leaders that they need to really focus on and to drive that change, they see that vision?
Well, one is don't do it alone. The thing is that because I'm a creative, sometimes my creativity will go straight into action and want to get it right then and there. But being able to bounce your ideas off of other creative individuals and see what they think, not necessarily at all times people would agree with your direction, but really seeing from different points of view. There's a great analogy out there where, just like the KKK, we could all be sitting looking at a painting, but if one person is standing to the left, I'm standing in the middle, and one person is standing to the right, we can all three see three different things. So the thing is that being able to bounce your ideas off of individuals and collect that information and really take things that stick out to where we can collectively use all of our ideas to make this thing called impact grow.
Yeah, I love it. So I heard tomorrow is the big day
Yes.
and there's a big event for Cooley. Is that right?
Yes. So tomorrow at Main Event in Newark, Delaware, we are partnered with Main Event. They're in like every state. We're partnered with Main Event and First Tee Delaware, which is a nationwide youth program that teaches inner city kids and individuals how to golf through that program. And Cooley is inviting, he has over 200 registered kids from 7 to 17. We're giving them unlimited games, unlimited buffets, door prizes, DJ, a lot of mascot appearances. And we're throwing this event because Cooley is for the community. And we're not only celebrating Cooley's birthday, we're celebrating the 1 year of impact he's been able to create by just being in the community and shining a light wherever he goes.
I love it. So when you think about leadership and you think about this inspiration, how much from your experience has been getting people excited about it? Because when I think about it, you've had to bring some people on this journey, right?
Mhm,
And it is about painting the vision
mhm,
and the what if,
mhm.
right? And that purpose behind it. Do you think that's really what's making the huge difference here of creating the momentum for you?
Listen, 100%. The thing is that when people see someone that is purpose driven, consistent, and persistent, and they'll find a way whether you help them or not. And people tend to want to latch on to things like that. But not only is this done by me, it's also done by my amazing community partners as well. Because there's this saying that I had back in my at my back to schools. It says, "We the change, be the change, we the change, be the change." And the thing is that we can't do this work without community partners. And the thing is that when different individuals see certain logos attached to you, other people tend to say, "Hey, what am I not seeing about this impact that's being created over at Cool Color Kid? What is this impact? How can we fit into this impact in our business that allows us to be a part of this change that Randall tends to seek?"
Yeah. And, we talk a lot in leadership and building businesses. A lot of times people don't want to talk about the emotions in it or, the, I say the heart. Like I put a heart on a PowerPoint one day and they're like, you can't do that, Kath. And I'm like, but it's important because logic doesn't move people, emotions do.
Mhm. It took a book by me reading I believe he was the creative director of Nike, and I don't know the book off the top of the head, but I think it's called Emotion by Design, and basically how he built Nike basically based off of emotion of just doing it. And I believe this idea could work for any business, not just a clothing brand. Basically, when you have people's not only eye, ear, and heart, you have a customer for life. I hate to say customer, but you have a believer that goes with you on this journey of change.
Yeah. And we talk a lot about that even at E plus Y when we're talking to leaders, you have to have that passion, right? And
Mm.
that purpose because people crave that. They want to know what you're doing, why you're doing it. And without getting your people engaged, without then delivering results, they're like, yeah, I'm just going to show up and get a paycheck, right?
Mhm,
So it's not
mhm,
just the community, but it's also for your teams.
mhm,
Like I'm sure people are clamoring to work with you and for you
mhm,
because of this purpose and this mission that you're on.
mhm. I believe it's a ripple effect. The thing is that one thing while starting this movement, if you will, I wanted to create a generational ripple effect that would leave a lasting impact on culture. That big word culture means a lot because the thing is that we're in forever changing climates of the world. And the thing is, culture is necessary in every facet on how we move in this life.
Yeah. And what do you think? What do you recommend for people out there that want to make a difference and want to give back and engage in the community?
Well, the thing is that it's all about volunteering, shadowing someone that you want to. I wouldn't necessarily say be like, but want to learn how they're creating impact and how it could potentially um, create a change in your life. It's all about the people you hang around, and I believe that when you're around motivated individual, it motivates you to get up, get out, and get ready to move.
Yeah, I agree. So what's next for Cooley? So we're celebrating his big birthday
There
tomorrow.
is so much. The crazy thing is that when he was introduced last year in August to December, we had 4 months. So 4 months of impact. He just did 8 events. He was new to the scene. My goal for January, I wanted to have him be a part of 20 events this year in different communities. We've already surpassed 20 events.
It's
Cooley,
only August.
it's only August, and he's already passed 20 events. Um, cool. It's so much. There's some things in store that I don't want to talk about just yet until they are actually cleared out of the way. But there is so much in store for Cooley. Well, last year he was able to do a Christmas giveaway where we gave 100 foster kids an opportunity for Christmas giveaways, and we also partnered with Main Event on that, giving individuals in foster care who may not have an opportunity to go to Main Event or get Christmas gifts. We wanted to find a different creative way through a mascot to do a Christmas giveaway. Right now, we're going to do another Christmas giveaway, but we're finding another creative way to do it in a way that other people have not done before. So that's one thing that I try to do is think outside of the box, not only with the brand, but think outside of the box on how we can do this different that nobody else has ever thought of doing.
I love it. So you're down in Delaware, Philly, and I think are you coming up to visit me in New York anytime
Yes,
soon?
yes, we were actually supposed to make that trip last month, but with Cooley's schedule, we had to pump the brakes and say we have to wait on that. So we are looking to do that. I want to say by September, because hopefully another plan that we have in mind goes through. There's some things that still needs to be ironed out, but we'll still make our way to Times Square to make sure Cooley is visible in Times Square.
I love it. And I'm going to be right there with you and high-fiving Cooley because I love everything that Cooley and you are doing. So if people wanted to find out more about Cooley and what you're working on
Mhm,
and how to get involved,
mhm.
where would you recommend they visit?
Well, to learn more about Cool Color Kid Generation, Cooley, and 100 Pairs to Give, you can go on Cool with a K, generation.com. Cooley has his own tab, Community, 100 Pairs to Give. You can also look in the About section to learn more about why I created this brand, a little bit about me and my background. And we also have a video section where you can see all of our cool marketing vehicles that help you learn more about Cool Color Kids Generation and so many things that we are doing in the community.
Excellent. I love it. Well, Randall, it's really been I've really given you the stage today because you are inspirational. And when we talk about E3 leaders, it's not just about having an idea. That's the first part, right? Being able to express that vision and have the purpose, but you really are bringing this to life. You're bringing it through engagement and getting community involved, your teams, and you're executing even when it gets hard. So I hear you say this was hard,
Mhm.
but
Very
it's the
hard.
right thing to do,
Hmm. Hmm.
and then you're doing it with heart. So you are
Hmm.
the epitome of it, what I refer to as an E3 leader. And I've just been so pleased and blessed that you would come join us. And I'm looking forward to all that you're doing and supporting you on your journey. And we're hoping that our audience will continue to learn more and get engaged and help out as well.
Absolutely. Let's find more ways to change the world.
I love it. So, in closing, any last thoughts, comments, suggestions you have for our audience?
Be the change you want to see in the world. That's about it.
I love it. Excellent. Well, Randall, thank you so much for joining. I
Thank you for having
appreciate
me.
it. Thank you to all those that joined us we've got folks from all over. We hope you have a very inspirational weekend. And if you want to learn more about E equals Y, you can follow us on our website, www.e=y.com. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great time.
Thank you.
Happy leadership. Thanks.